If you're anything like most people, you're just a little confused, overwhelmed, and intimidated by shoes. Yes, shoes. Walking into a shoe store can be daunting. All those shoes. Which to choose? Motion control, minimalist, maximalist, or the ones that look awesome? Will they help your current situation or make it worse? Well, today's video will focus on helping you get a better understanding of your shoes so that you will feel more empowered and knowledgeable about your purchase. Let's get started by talking about the anatomy of a shoe. Yes, even a shoe has anatomy, since many times it is discussed in the shoe's description or the salesperson starts spouting off these terms. It will be a good investment of your learning time to learn some of it. There are three main parts to the shoe: the shoe upper, the midsole, and the shoe outsole. Let's take a closer look at what makes up the major components of the shoe's upper portion. Now, as its name suggests, the upper is the combination of materials that wrap around the top of the foot. The upper consists of four main parts. One, the overlays. These are made of synthetic materials that crisscross along the top of the shoe and provide support and or reinforcement. Uppers will vary depending on what type of shoe you are getting and the level of tech in it. For example, hiking boots or trail shoes will have heavier materials in them like leather, whereas long distance shoes that are considered upper end will have lighter weight materials. 2. The heel counter, which is a rigid or semi-rigid device, is a heel that holds the foot in place. Variations of the heel counter will affect the way the heel contacts the ground. 3. The collar. This is the foam padding that surrounds the sides and the rear of the shoe and helps hold the foot in place. Those with narrow feet need to pay attention to this, since the failure of the collar to hold the foot in place will cause blisters and make the shoe difficult to control. And lastly, 4. The toe box. The front portion of the upper that creates a space above and around the toes. Running shoe toe boxes should be roomy to allow the foot to expand. I like to use the Goldilocks rule when determining if the shoe fits well or not. Not too big that your toes have room to wander. Not too small that your toes feel all squished. But just right so that your toes have just enough room to move and can still control the shoe. Next is the midsole part of the shoe. The midsole is the part that contacts your foot but lays over the sole of the shoe. This is the least seen, the most felt, and probably the most important part of the shoe. The midsole is typically made of plastic materials that feel and behave like foam or rubber. Midsole composition dictates the durability or longevity of the shoe as well as the quality of the ride. Cushioning and pronation control technologies are located in the midsole. There are 4 things to know about the midsole. A. It's usually made of a compression molded EVA foam. The EVA is an abbreviation for an elastometric polymer that is rubber-like in its softness and flexibility, the most common insole material. B. Cushioning devices are placed in the heel and the forefoot to absorb shock and resist compression. Each shoe manufacturer produces their own unique types of cushioning devices, but the function of these devices is similar across the brands. C. Dual or multi-density midsole. A midsole that has 2 different densities of material is dual density. Shoes that are designed to prevent overpronation usually have dual or multi-density midsoles. And lastly, D. One of the most commonly talked about details of a shoe is the heel-toe drop, which is the height difference between the heel and the toes. This is important because large differentials can change the mechanics of how you walk, and it is also important in determining the amount of heel cushioning. Heel heights vary from shoe to shoe and brand to brand, but generally a bigger, slower runner, especially a heel striker, wants more midsole foam for better cushioning, which means a greater or higher heel height. Faster, more efficient runners tend to strike more in the midfoot or even forefoot and usually prefer a lower heel height. A lower heel height promotes stability, but a higher heel height adds cushioning and takes some of the strain off the Achilles and calf muscles. Lastly, we come to the outsole portion of the shoe. Currently, they are typically made of a carbon or blown rubber. The outsole is the bottom of the shoe. The outsole provides traction and contributes to how soft or firm the shoe rides, as well as the torsional rigidity and flexibility. The shape of the outsole ranges in shape from curved to straight. Curved shoes tend to be less stable and are better for neutral runners to supinators, while more rigid, straight shoes are best for overpronators. Knowing the general anatomy of a shoe helps you stay in the conversation with the shoe salesperson, helps you better understand your needs, and results in a better match between you and your shoes. And we all know that the relationship between you and your shoes can either make or break your experience.